All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Like John said, my name's Ashley Gregory, and we will be doing the Career Lecture Series Reboot 1.5. Last semester I did something similar to this, but except there was 3 separate lectures, and I just threw one of them all together with 0.5 of the other one. So we'll be talking about career fair and resumes, or as I like to call it, let's play speed chess against the career fair and companies. So we're going to get you up to date on at least what you need to do before the career fair, along with kind of generally what you need to put in your resumes. All right, so career fair, when is it? The university-wide career fair will be this next Tuesday, October 6, 2015, from 10 to 2. It will be in the university ballroom, so that's that big ballroom back there, usually across from Panda and across from those stairs. So it's right in that section over there. So what is a career fair? Essentially, the companies are coming to hire you guys. They want students. That's why they're there. They're either looking to hire you for full-time opportunities, part-time opportunities, or internships. It's also a place where you can come and learn about the companies too. So if you're a freshman, you're not sure kind of what you want to concentrate within computer science, you can go up to a company, ask them kind of what they do, and see if that's a company you may want to work for at some point in time. So why should you go? Searching for a job, either part-time, full-time, or internship. Experience a new position. I mean, even if you have a job, it's a great thing to go to, even just to see if there's a position that maybe it's better than the position you currently already have within computer science. If you don't have a computer science internship or job, this is a great place just to go, at least to get a feel for what some companies are looking for. All right, so what do you need to do before the career fair? So know when it's happening. You already do. So one thing done in the checklist. Go ahead and look for the companies that are attending. In our newsletter, we recently just sent out what companies are attending, so that is within the newsletter. If you want to see what other companies may be visiting that weren't computer science, computer engineering, or electrical engineering, then they don't have it posted on the career website, but what you can do is go ahead and click on login to the Career Center, and they have a login page, and you'll log in there. So if you don't have a Career Center login, you'll have to sign up for one. And I believe it's pretty easy now. I believe it's all through email. You don't have to physically go visit them. Prepare your resume. So if you don't have a resume, prepare one. If you have one, you're going to need to update it. Get together your professional dress clothes. So this is your suits. This is just your polo shirt and some slacks. And then practice your handshakes and introductions. If you're not comfortable talking in front of people or meeting new people, you may want to practice that introduction. If you're not sure about how your handshakes are, then practice with somebody. So, next thing, companies, get a game plan. Know what companies you're going to visit that day. Know which ones you want to approach, and then make sure that you map out the list of what you're looking for. What's your top company you want to go visit there? Write it down, whether it be Aerojet or Chevron. That's the first company you're going to visit there as soon as you get there. And as you go through, go ahead and number them, like this is my top priority, this is the lowest priority I have on my list. The next one is know about the company. So this is go look up the companies, know what's on their website, know what they kind of do at least. Kind of generate your questions that you may have for them. There's 2 different types of questions you can ask. General and very specific questions. General questions are more like, hey, what programming language do you use commonly in your company? That would be a general question. You can ask any computer science company that, and they'll answer that. The next one is specific. So this is more about the company. This is more like if you're working for Chevron, you know, is it more, do you deal more with, since it's IT work, do you deal more with dealing with the computers there, or do you deal with actually programming for like GIS and stuff like that? So it's very specific questions about the company. Know which ones you want to get a job with. If there's a company you want to get a job with, and you know that's your, like, as soon as I graduate, that's the company I want to go for, go talk to them. That's the people you want to talk to. If it's like I just need something and I really don't care what company I'm talking to, then go ahead and just go ahead and talk to them, because sometimes you just need a job, so you just go talk to anybody so you can get a job. Resumes. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of what needs to be in your resumes. We're not going to go full-blown into what is in a resume. All right, so the quick prep guide. What you need in your resume. Make sure it's only one page. Nobody wants 2, 3+ pages of reading about you. They want quick and easy, something they can look at, glance at, and say, boom, 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 there we go. That's everything that I need to know about you. I don't need to know anymore. If they have more specific questions about you, or if they want to know more about you, they can ask you in the interview, or they can ask you right there. Next one thing is don't make your font sizes smaller than 10.5. Also, don't do any weird fonts. So don't do Comic Sans because nobody will take you seriously. And then don't go, yeah, web links. Don't do web links. Nobody can read web links, everybody. So don't do any weird fonts where it would be hard to read. Try to stick with your Arial and Times New Roman for that. All you need for contact information is your name, email, and phone number. Nobody cares about your address much anymore. Essentially, they ask you that during their hiring process if they really need it to send you paperwork. Next one is you need an objective. So what's your objective? Your objective can either be that I just need an internship in computer science or computer engineering. And so that's all you would say there. If you're working for if you want to go for a specific company, then you would say, I would like to work for this company. Go look about their about statement. Put some of those key words in there that they use in their about statement, because usually that's what catches their eye, that you actually took the time to go on their website and look at that company and look what they stand for. The next thing is education. So this will mention your classes taken, expected date to graduate, and from where. The next one is your computer skills. So programming, languages that you know, software, and OS. If you program just a little bit in a programming language, you can put that down. When they ask you in an interview about it, you can say, I programmed a little bit in this language, but I'm not fluent in it. So let's say C programming. We all do a little C programming in 60, but none of us feel comfortable about it. But we do know about, so we can put C on there, and when it comes to the interview, you can go ahead and say, this is C programming. I did a little bit of it for one of my classes. It's not my most comfortable, but Java is my most comfortable, and that would be the language they would test you on the most. Next one would be personal groups and projects. So this is your CSC 131 for those of you who are taking software engineering. This is your senior project, but it's also personal projects you've done on your own. Like, I code an iPhone app that does X, Y, Z. So you can put things like that you've done in order to expand your knowledge, but was a pretty good, beefy project. Next one's work experience. So this is any work experience you've done within your life. So I worked at, you could say I worked at McDonald's or I worked at Safeway or whatever. That counts because you have that customer skills, and they look for a lot of personal skills that you're able to communicate to individuals in order to get your thing across. So this is your internships, even volunteer work. If you don't have a paid job, you can put volunteer work down there, because that also shows that you've taken the time at least to have those personal skills. Next one is professional activities. So this is clubs. So you can put down that you're a member of ACM at CSUS. And they like to see that you're part of clubs too, because it means you're just not focusing on your academics, but you're also focusing on getting interested within the club and knowing people within clubs, and that you can communicate to other people. Communication's a big deal for them. So this is also participation. So if you participated in a hackathon or a programming contest, you can put that also. And then anything else that you think would be relevant to put into professional activities that revolves kind of around that general area. The other one is awards you can put under there. So that's the Dean's Honor List. So if you ever made the Dean's Honors List, scholarships you received, so anything like that you can put there. All right, things not to do. I can and I am a superstar. You can't prove that. You can't just put on there that I'm a leader. Where's your proof? That's why you just put it within your job description that you led a group of people. Or if you are an officer position within a club, you can put that, and that proves you're a leader. Just don't bluntly say it out there because you have no proof to back it up, really. Write a non-technical essay. So that means you don't have any programming projects on there. You didn't put your programming languages on there. It looks essentially like you're just a regular communications major. Don't do that to yourself, because when they look at it, they'll be like, clearly they know no programming languages. Clearly they don't have the computer skills that we require. Essentially toss aside, and they'll just throw your resume aside, and you'll be in the no pile automatically. So don't do that to yourself. At least put your programming languages down, and at least put at least one project if you can on there. Do not make it longer than a page. Like I said, they'll just throw your resume on the side. Nobody wants to read anything longer than a page nowadays. Lie. Do not lie on your resume to make yourself look better. Don't say, oh yeah, I led my 131 group, even though you really didn't, and your friend or one of the other members in there led that group. Because you won't be able to prove it, because they may ask for documentation. Or they may go and ask your other fellow members within that group. And when they say, oh no, you weren't the person that led the group, they'll automatically throw you in the no pile right away. And they'll probably never want to hire you again. So don't lie on your resume. Be as truthful as you can. If you accidentally put something on your resume and you realize that, oh, that shouldn't have gone on there, in the interview, mention it. If you get an interview, just say, hey, by the way, I did that at one time, and I just don't remember how to do any of it, or the fact that I'm not as much as a leader for that group that I was. I felt like I was, but I really wasn't. Just let them know; they'll understand. Don't make it cutesy. Make it look like it's a D&D RPG profile, essentially. So don't make it like, here's my name, here's my stats, I'm this proficient in Java, I've got a 50% chance that I can actually code something right, Don't do that to yourself. Don't decide to put flowers all over the side, too, and some cats, because you feel like it. They will not take you seriously. They will throw you to the side. As I like to say it, hate to say it, generic is safe and sometimes better. In this case, it's the best thing you can do for resumes. Don't go all out and think you're doing a hero profile, because you're not. Now, if you cover letter, if it's a fun company like Blizzard, you can completely go ahead and do that, but not on your resume. Don't you dare do that on your resume. It's a guaranteed no, almost. Don't make it look scattered and unorganized. Make sure you make your headings clear and what's going on in there. Just don't make it look like a bobbled essay that you create for English because it's a rough draft. It won't go well either. All right, preparing resumes. So make sure everything's up to date, spelled correctly. Make sure to do that spell check. Don't spell anything wrong, because if you spell internship wrong on there, I'm not sure if they're really going to take you. They're most likely not. Decide if you want a specific or a generic resume. So the specific one's just, like I said, I want an internship. I really don't care where it's at. I just want the field of computer science or software engineering or whatever. And then the generic is aiming towards that company. And the next one is, how many copies do you need for the career fair or whatever event that you may be going to? Make sure that you have extra generic resume copies. So if you're not sure, because maybe a company will come out of the blue that's not on the list and you really want to apply for them, just prepare for little cases like that, just in case. Make sure your printer is functioning. So make sure your toner is in good shape, and it's not when you put in your resume paper, it all of a sudden prints it in like dark gray, lighter gray, not even readable gray. So make sure that you have where it's readable. Print all resumes on resume paper. Regular paper shows that you didn't care and you just printed it last minute. Resume paper says at least I took the time and I did X, Y, Z, essentially. Get a nice bag, purse, or resume folder to put them in, so it's not like I'm reaching in my bag and, oh, they're crumpled on the corners. This is how much I care about you. So don't do that to yourself. Make sure that you actually have it in a nice place to put them, that they won't get wrinkled or crumpled or anything else to them. All right, dressing to the nine, done right. So essentially, how you should dress for a career fair. So men, essentially suit, collared shirt, or slacks. You can go for one or the other. That's usually a pretty general way to go. There's some examples of what you can go for. Shoes, preferably dress shoes. Look, shave or trim your beard if you have one. Make sure it looks nice. Make sure that you're presentable. Neat haircut or contained. So either get your hair cut or contain your hair where it doesn't look like I just woke up, I just rolled out of bed this morning, I've got bed hair, and here we go, career fair. No piercings or tattoos showing. I mean, you can have minimal piercings, but try not to go for them. You don't want to over-accessorize yourself. And sometimes some companies do have the speculation of tattoos, so try not to show them if you can help it. The next one is hygiene. So take a shower the night before that morning so you don't stink, essentially. And don't bathe in cologne. So just don't say, okay, I do stink and I'm just going to pour the bottle of cologne. Nobody wants to smell that all day long, especially the recruiters. All right, women. So suit, nice dress shirt, slack/skirt. So there's some examples on what you can wear. Shoes can be dress shoes, business heels, or dress flats. Not over 2 inches, though, if you're going to do heels. Otherwise, it's just annoying. It's like something you'd wear every day or out on a date at that point. Look, so hair contained, make sure it's not all over the place and it looks presentable. Don't go for the seduction look. Don't try to seduce the recruiters into giving you a job. That is not a good idea. Essentially, dress as you would professionally, or I wouldn't even say around your friends because some people go for that. But don't go for essentially, hey, come at me and I want you. No, 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 no. Go for just the subtle, cover everything look. Don't airbrush your makeup on. Nobody wants to see a painted doll there. They're after to see who you really are and not who you think you are, what you want to be. Do not over-accessorize. So don't go put all your bracelets on, your necklaces, and any other blingage you may have essentially to put on. Don't do that. They really don't want to see any of that. And again, no tattoo showing. So hygiene's the same thing. Just don't bathe in perfume either. So, all right. But I'm a poor college student. You're only there because you need a job, okay? Or the fact that you have a job and you're a shopaholic and that's why you have no money either, because you decided to go buy 30 video games last night and now you have no money. But that doesn't matter. You can put it on your credit card and you can pay it by the end of the month, or you can do increment payments. But essentially, for your professional wear, you can spend anywhere from $50 to about $300. Glance as your friend if you're a poor college student. Essentially, dressing professionally, and no matter how much it costs, is actually worth it in particular, because that will get you the interview, that will get you the job. And by that time, if you get that job and if you land that job, essentially it will only take 2 to 3 days to get the payment that you need in order to pay this off. Depending on how much you spend, it may be more or less. So just get the clothes. Don't worry about the price too much. You can borrow from your friends. You can borrow from your family for a bit. But it's well worth it because you'll end up with that job and you'll have the money that you need to in order to pay whoever you need to back. All right. So how do you do the walk, essentially? The handshakes, introductions, and the do's and don'ts. All right. Handshakes tell a lot about you. Essentially, if you go up to a recruiter and you shake really hard, you just squeeze their hand to a point that you're about ready to break it, it's showing that you're aggressive. Recruiters don't want aggressive people within the company because either it may mean that you have a temperament issue or that you want to fight, essentially. Nobody wants that, so don't do the I'm going to break your hand handshake. Also, don't do the fragile handshake of like, yeah, I want a job. Here, you're very fragile material. They'll think you're weak. They'll think you're scared. They won't want to really talk to you. They don't know what to say to you at that point because they think you're fragile at that point. And so nobody wants a fragile employee within their company who's not going to have a backbone in order to do the work. So don't do that to yourself. Go for something in the middle. Not too hard, not too soft, just right. Introductions. Essentially, it's about you, but it's not your life story. Nobody wants to know that you were born in Sacramento and you've been living here for whatever, you decided to come to Sac State. Nobody wants to hear that whole story. All they really want to know is your name, your major, your month you plan to graduate, what type of jobs you're looking for, and you're interested in doing what, essentially. and you can fill that in. And then talk to them. Talk to them about the company, what positions they offer, and then what's their atmosphere of the company. That's a big thing. Do they provide training during their internships, or do you have to go get training on your own? Do they have mentorships? Because a lot of these questions are big things that involve in what company you're going to pick. Because you're going to get down to the point that maybe you have 3 companies who want to hire you, but you need to decide which one's the best. And by asking those questions, it will make it so much easier for you to say, yes, I want company A because they have the better atmosphere, they have a better internship program, and that's who I want. So do your research on the company and definitely ask her those questions so you can make it easier if you get to that point where they're offering you jobs and you got multiple ones. You can make that decision quickly. Next one is business cards. So some employers will be talking to you and they really like you and they'll hand you a business card. When they hand you a business card, take it from them, say thank you, use your manners. Look at it though. Just stand, look at it, and then look back at them. Look at the business card, look back at them. It's just essentially you acknowledging them that this is your business card, this is you, I'm memorizing your face with this business card essentially. So once if it's a generic one, now if they give you a generic one that says careers at whatevercompany.com, ask them if you can have a personal one. Because you want to contact them afterwards just in case you may have some questions about their company or the fact that you want to thank them. So don't take a generic one, ask them for a personal one. Do not put it away until you're done talking to them. It's just a courtesy thing. Even if you just put it down at your side, here a little bit lower than what it was before, just don't slip it into your back pocket or put it in your bag or whatnot. Don't do that. Once you walk away from them, it's usually a good idea just to jot down some information about what you learned about the company so that when you look at your business cards, it's just a refresher of what you remember essentially of, oh, this was a good company, they answered this questions, here was their atmosphere, or this company didn't know anything, the recruiter was kind of clueless on some of the parts, may not be the best company in the world. So you can make those connections from there. All right. So essentially, don't be that guy or gal. Take swag from random companies you do not talk to. So don't go past by a booth and say, those are some cool headphones and memory sticks. Oh, that's a civil engineering company. Oh, whatever, and just go over there, walk right past the recruiters and just take stuff. That's not cool. You didn't even talk to them. Why are you going to take something that they may actually give to somebody that they potentially may hire? Don't be a klepto. And, or as I call it, don't be Kirby. Essentially just suck up everything in front of you and you just start sweeping it into your bag, essentially until your bag is huge. I've actually seen this done. It was super embarrassing because we were with the guy for a bit and it was super embarrassing the fact that he had a huge bag and he was just taking swag and yanking things and being really rude when you were talking to the recruiter and they were just taking things. So don't do that. Don't be that person that you're like, oh, I don't even want to associate anywhere near them or talk to them ever again. Don't do that to yourself. Don't grab more than one, essentially. One's enough. That's all you ever need. Trust me. Don't turn down swag if a company's talking to you and hands you some swag. Don't say, oh, no, thank you. Just take it and be polite. You can give it to your friend or whatnot later on, even if you don't need it. But if they hand it to you, just don't turn it down. Just take it and say thank you. Do you have a question?
What happens if your pockets and hands are full by that point?
If your pockets and hands are full at that point, then just walk, after you get done with them, walk out of the career fair, and you can either just throw some of the stuff in the trash you're going through and you're like, what is this? And just start tossing it in there. Or you can just hand it to some people, or you can go over, take a break, go upstairs, put it in your backpack that you have or your car if you really like it and you really like the stuff that you have. Then you can go back in there. But you can make trips in and out of the career fair with no issues. Essentially, I always bring a bag with me, either a nice sling over one or just my regular backpack, because everybody's got their backpack on there because of their textbooks and whatnot. So you can always just bring a bag with you and you'd be perfectly fine. They're not going to judge you for that. Trust me, they know you have classes and they know sometimes you'll stay at the career fair till 11:50 and your class is at 12, so you'll be running to your class. So they understand that. So don't feel ashamed if you have your backpack on you. That's perfectly fine. Don't talk with food in your mouth. So if like Frito-Lay comes and give you a bag of chips and you just start eating them in the career fair, don't be like, hey, recruiter, I'm going to munch on those chips while you talk to me. Don't do that. That's super rude. Don't answer your cell phone. Who cares if your mom calls or whatever? You can face her wrath later, but answering a phone call in the middle of talking to somebody is rude, okay? So just don't do that. Finish talking with them. Once you're done talking with them, then you can go outside and recall whoever was calling you before. Don't force resumes on them. So if they're standing there and all of a sudden they're talking to you about positions and you just throw a resume at them like, here, take it. Don't do that. They'll essentially look at your resume and pretend like they acknowledge you. By the time then they'll just throw your resume in the no pile essentially automatically. Don't act goofy, weird, or creepy. Don't start hitting on the recruiter. I don't care how hot they are. Don't do that. Or don't be like, hey, how are you doing? And just seem like you're on drugs. Don't do that either. That's not cool. They'll essentially just barely talk to you, and then they'll say, okay, well, you have a good day now. And essentially they'll do anything just to get rid of you at that point. Don't talk over them. If they're talking and you accidentally interrupt them, just say, oh, sorry, please go ahead. You know, just be polite about it if you accidentally do, but don't all of a sudden start talking and they were talking and then just overrun them completely. Look off into the abyss. Make eye contact. Don't go off in the abyss. If they're standing here, don't be like, oh, hello, recruiter, I'm so happy, and be looking off into Timbuktu. That clearly tells them you don't care enough and you're just here to talk and not get any information, or that you don't want a job. Don't act like somebody that you aren't. Just be yourself. I mean, don't pretend you're like this all big and you know everything. Nobody knows anything, everything. You know some things, you just don't know everything. Yes, sir.
Is it acceptable to go to the career fair and regular things like this, and with no resume just to explore? Like if I just wanted to go.
You could go jeans. I mean, you could probably go jeans and a polo just fine. I wouldn't go for a regular T-shirt if you're just exploring, but I would at least get a polo, just a simple polo to go around, because the T-shirt's kind of like, oh, I didn't even care much, but at least a polo and jeans would be perfectly acceptable if you're just looking around and you're not looking for a career, essentially. But you're just exploring your options and seeing what people have. If you really want to go for it, you can just buy the polo and the slacks really easily, and then at least you have that for future that you could just continue to use.
It's okay to go without the resume if I'm just exploring.
Yes, it is completely fine to go without resumes, because maybe you're...
I can get a business card and then just email them.
Right, and a lot of the companies nowadays are actually just having people send in their resumes, and they're not physically taking resumes at the career fair, but most of them do. But if they ask for your resume, you can just say that I was just looking for options into going to and thinking about what companies would be good for me to apply maybe next time around. So you can completely go in with no resumes and not have that issue. All right. So what do you want to be? You want to be the one who asks for business cards, so you can contact them and give them a thank you letter at the end, because sometimes a lot of the recruiters don't get thank you letters for talking to people. And when you send a thank you letter, what it means is that you cared about that company and you really appreciated their information that they gave you. Even though they may not read it, at least they know that you took the initiative to follow through and do what they ask. Because a lot of people will talk to a recruiter and they'll never follow through for what they asked them to do. Take anything they hand you, use your manners, be polite, make eye contact. Ask questions that apply to the company or to the jobs and the preferred method to apply for those jobs. Give them the resume when they ask for it, unless, of course, in your case, if you're just walking around, then you can just kindly, say, I'm just looking for options at this point. I'm not interested in applying. I'm just doing my research. Answer questions if they ask you politely. So if they ask you questions such as, can you work in the states legally? Are you willing to relocate? Answer those questions. Don't get offended by them. They have to ask those questions. It's for the company's benefit and what they need to be able to do for you if they're thinking about possibly hiring you for an internship. be honest with yourself and with them. Don't start telling lies that, oh yeah, I did X, Y, Z, you know, and you really didn't. The answers to the questions are yes, essentially, most of the cases, especially for relocation. If they're asking you for relocation, essentially, it means that they may be thinking that, oh, we don't have jobs here in Sacramento, but for summer internship, would you be willing to go to Texas, essentially, to do an internship? You know, and just say yes to it. You never know what options that may come. Some companies pay for your relocation. So just say yes to relocation, and if they offer you something in New York and they're not willing to pay relocation, you can decline the offer. Send thank you notes and apply for the jobs that they ask you for. Like I said, it means a lot to them that you actually took the time to actually listen, and they're not speaking to no one, essentially, and sending the thank you letters means that you actually took the time and cared. All right, game, set, match, night, day, and after the career fair. All right, so the night of the career fair, review again your list to visit, get to know what you're doing, check your resumes, make sure they're all accurate. When you print them out, make sure that they're readable so that people can read them. Lay out clothes and anything else you'll need. So just make a pile, make it career day pile, so your bag, your resumes, your clothes, just all that in a corner. Practice objectives that you're having issues with. So if you're having issues with your introduction or your handshaking, maybe you want to call up your friend and say, hey, can we practice this? Or just somebody in the room saying, hey, I'm practicing for the career fair. Would you have some time to practice with me? Prepare an emergency career fair bag. So this is your extra resume paper just in case you handed out all your resumes and there's that one company that you actually want to make a specific resume for. So you can do that. Extra set of normal clothes, you know, after you get done with the career fair. Nobody wants to be in their suit and their professional clothes all day long. So at least you can go change your clothes and get in your jeans and t-shirt and be happy. Extra hygiene materials. Trust me, you end up sweating a lot. Your hands end up sweating. And so by the end, you're going to want to refresh yourself. Set it up somewhere so you don't have to bring it with you. So whether it be if there's nothing going on here, you know, you can leave it here, or you can leave it in your car, which is the best option, is just to leave it in your car. When you get done with the career fair, you can go to your car, grab that stuff, and then bring that other stuff back. And then get a good night's sleep. Don't decide to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning preparing all this stuff. That's not a good idea. It's just like a test. You want a good night's sleep in order to focus. So the day and the after effects. So the big day, get there earlier towards the beginning. If you decide that you're going to go at 1 o'clock, you know, at that point, a lot of the recruiters are fried. They really don't care who comes talks to them at that point. And if you have class till 1 o'clock, that's perfectly fine. But if it's because you don't want to get up in the morning and come here at 10, that's not a good idea. Just get here early when the recruiters are fresh. They're more active, and they're more willing to answer your questions. By 1 o'clock, they're kind of getting grumpy. Mark your targets, essentially. Know what companies you want first. So when they hand you the map at the beginning, essentially go, okay, where's the company that I want to go to? Find them on the map, mark it, find that company within the room. Go off and promote yourself, because you're the biggest thing that they want, and you want to be able to promote yourself efficiently. After the fair, do exactly what the recruiter says to apply for jobs. If the recruiters gave you their business card, send them a thank you email, and then prepare for a possible invitation for an interview or possibly even a job offer. Some companies just call you on the phone, ask you a few questions, and that's your interview, and then they end up giving you a job offer. Some of them don't even care, and they just end up giving you a job offer. So there's different interviews that they can give you. They may or may not give you an interview. So just be aware of that and just prepare for this to happen. All right, questions? Yep.
What are, for clothing, what are the most acceptable colors to wear during the fair?
I would say the neutral colors are pretty good to stick with. Don't go for anything neon. That's a really bad choice. Light blues are good too, but don't go for something totally like obscene, that if you walk down the street and you'd be like, what in the world, you know, don't go for that. If you're looking at it and saying what in the world, or if you're wearing it, you're saying, what in the world? And that's not a good idea. Try to go for solid colors too, and not things with much pattern, because sometimes you'll get distracted by the patterns on there, and sometimes that'll happen to recruiters, is they'll be looking at you and they'll be like, that's an interesting pattern shirt. So they're more concentrated on your shirt than at that point than actually talking to you and answer your questions fully. So try to go for solid colors, neutral, light blues, essentially. Yes?
So on a resume, when you list a class, which class do you list?
Your computer science classes, normally, if you haven't taken any computer science classes, usually freshmen, I recommend if you've taken communications to put that on there. And those are the classes you would essentially list. So just your computer science classes, not your major classes.
No, I mean the best classes.
The-
We list, like, say, for computer science, we take like 30 classes. We have 30 computer science classes.
Then put the classes you are most interested in. So let's say your concentration is cybersecurity, right? You would put your cybersecurity classes first, and any classes that may pertain to that cybersecurity position. If you're applying for something that's more like maybe like software engineer related, you'd put your software engineering courses related, or things that may tie with software engineering, like algorithms and databases. So you'd put that. So if you're going for a specific career path that you're like, no, this is what I want to do, then put those classes down that most pertain to it. If you're just going for generic, put the classes you had the most fun in, and that you would think about doing a job within that field. Yes?
What if instead of a long list of classes, I just put a list of the skills, different categories, because a lot of those classes have redundant skills, like I've taken multiple Java classes.
Right. So what you can do is just in your programming languages or the programs that you know, you could put in your programming languages, you could put Java, and maybe the programs you know, you could put Microsoft Office, MATLAB, stuff like that within there. But do list a few classes. Try to make it relevant to the school you're going to right now, though. Other questions? All right. If not, we're done. You're welcome. What was the question? Probably not this semester, maybe next semester, but if they do have resume,